What's going on, everyone? So the Los Angeles Lakers are in great shape, right? Lakers are the 5th seed, but they're tied in the loss column with the Denver Nuggets for the 3 seed. They are on a 5-game win streak. You look at their schedule, these next 4 or 5 games, all very winnable games, all games that they should win. I mean, in the next week or so, Lakers could be in the 3 seed. Luka is making his debut. That obviously could have a little bit of a learning curve between him and LeBron, but I expect Luka to be great right out the jump, right? I think this game in particular, this first game, I do think Luka is probably going to go out and drop like a 40 piece just to be like, hey, LeBron did it, Reeves did it, I need to do it type thing, and just send that statement. But I do think after this statement game, which I also think Redick, LeBron, and everybody will kind of empower him, like, hey, go out there, you play your game, right? We'll figure all the other stuff out as the season progresses. But this is your night, right? And, the hype and the excitement and stuff, I expect a big game. Maybe he's a little passive because it's the first game, but I think he's going to ball out. And then as this season progresses, I think you'll start seeing, kind of like the changes and the adjustments and the sacrifice from him and LeBron and Reeves and guys like that. Even though LeBron did say, hey, ball's in Luka's hands, then Austin Reeves, I'll kind of work around those two, which I think is the best formula. Like LeBron playing off ball. It's what he's wanted his entire tenure with the Lakers. Ever since the 2020 season, he has been begging for somebody that could take the pressure off of him. It's why they went and got Dennis Schroeder and then Russell Westbrook and then Schroeder again and then D'Angelo Russell, right? Like he wants somebody that can, run the offense, kind of take over in stretches, be the clear-cut number one guy, right? Anthony Davis, we love Anthony Davis, but there were genuine questions of can he be the clear-cut number one guy? What do we do post-LeBron? Because every other night, LeBron has to put up 30 just for us to have a chance to win because Anthony Davis sometimes can kind of fall in that passive, scenario, right? So now you got that clear-cut guy. You got that dog. You got everything. But something that I think needs a lot of credit, and I don't really hear anybody talking about, I've touched on it briefly and passing and stuff, but I really wanted to dedicate a video to it, is JJ Redick. Many of you know that I've been here for a while. I was huge on JJ Redick. I was talking about the Lakers hiring JJ Redick when there were murmurs because he went and interviewed for Charlotte out of left field. And I was like, wait a minute, time out. If he's an option, go get him. His basketball mind obviously hasn't been a head coach. I get all that, but that's all just little nuance stuff. Does he understand the game? Can he draw plays to a simpleton, which we saw on his podcast, him be able to break down and explain to the average Joe? I'm like, dude, he's got the mind to be an excellent head coach. If you put the right coaching staff around him that can help him through the behind the scenes work, I was like, he might be one of the better coaches in the league. And then the rumors picked up, right? The rumors were like, oh, hey, Lakers are interested in JJ Redick. And I kept hitting, we need JJ, we need JJ, we need JJ, we need JJ. Even in the Dan Hurley stuff, I was like, hey, Dan Hurley would be great. I'm not going to lie, he's probably the best option. But JJ Redick is not a bad option. And JJ has been that guy. And he's been every bit of that guy. And I love that he's been that guy, right? Because, I talked a lot of mess, right? I hyped him up like he was going to be this big guy. And even through some of the struggles earlier in the season, I kept saying, right, stay the course. He's going to be great. And he has them playing excellent basketball. Look, I even defended Darvin Ham last year in stretches when it's warranted. I didn't think he was a good coach. I didn't think he was a guy that, executed adjustments properly or had, I talked about it all the time, right? Whenever Darvin Ham was able to be in his box, right, he looked very good. Again, he was greatly out coaching, Memphis's coach and Steve Kerr and all these guys. He, during that conference finals run, looked fantastic because he got to stay in his box. As soon as he has to start getting out of that box, what ended up happening? He couldn't do anything. He ran into Denver twice, and he couldn't stay in his little box, and he didn't know how to make adjustments. He didn't know how to stop him. He didn't know how to do anything. One of the things that I talked about with JJ that is a benefit with him not having any coaching experience, you see a lot of these coaches, right, that come in, and they're set in their ways. They only know what they were taught. They only know how to coach a very specific direction, right? Darvin Ham is a great example. All of his coaching, all of his schemes, everything came directly from Mike Budenholzer, right? All of Darvin Ham's faults and issues and concerns were all the same with Bud. It's why he got fired, right? And so my theme was the beauty with JJ is he's not going to be married to one idea. I'm sure he'll have an idea. I'm sure he'll have a path carved out in which he wants to play in the direction he wants to go. But it's like, hey, this isn't working. What do we do? Okay, let's go over here. This isn't working. Okay, let's go over here. Okay, this isn't working. Let's go over here. Right? You've seen him change the starting unit on several occasions. You've seen him make adjustments game to game, in the middle of games, sometimes in the middle of quarters, right? Like at halftime, all that stuff. He's done a really good job of not just being married to an idea and sticking with it. Right? He even said, hey, like I want to listen to my coaching staff. I want to do it. And that's the other big thing, which credit the Lakers. They didn't just go out and get, JJ a guy or two. No, they carved out an excellent coaching staff. Right? I mean, they really did a wonderful job with Scott Brooks and Lindsey Harding and just down the list to the training staff with Sims, and he was the Team USA Olympic guy and stuff like that. Right? Like they really carved out an excellent coaching staff to give him a ton of support. Right? Like he really does. You can see. He'll go and look, have those comments, and he's talked about it himself. He's very open. He wants the coaches to give their input, right? Obviously, at the end of the day, he gets the final decision. He gets the final say, and he's even said, like, hey, don't blame, like, if something goes wrong, it's on me, right? I get the final call. But I want to listen to the players. I want to listen to the coaches. I want to, let's come collectively together, because they might see something that I don't, or maybe I do see it, but I just don't want to admit it, right? Like, there are things. It's always good to get an outside opinion, right? Like whenever you have an idea, right? You always want to run it by, hey, what do you think about this, right? Because you want people that aren't close to it, attached to it. I think JJ's done a really good job of that, right? Like Nate McMillan, right? Like you can see his fingerprints on it. Scott Brooks, you can see his fingerprints on it, right? But JJ is just the mastermind, putting all these, okay, let's do this. Now let's go here. Let's do this. Let's do that, right? Like, Jean, right? You could see his fingerprints on it, right? Like you go down the coaching and you can just see all of their fingerprints all kind of in this pot together. It's one of the things that was so great about the 2020 roster. It's why I said I thought this coaching staff would be tremendous before the season even began. Because you look at the coaching staff in 2020. Yeah, you had Frank Vogel, but you had like Jason Kidd, right? I mean, even Jared Dudley. Yes, he was a player, but he was a big part of that. I mean, the coaching staff talked about it, the players talked about it, how he was kind of this extension of the coach, how he was kind of this guy that was almost like the player coach in a lot of ways, right? Like all of those things are really big and significant for this team, right? Like Gentry, all of these guys, right? Like I really think that JJ deserves a ton of love, a ton of respect, and a ton of credit because he has done wonders. I mean, look at our record last year compared to this year, right? We're like 12 games better or something like that, right? Like it's just, you've seen the turnaround. You see the players playing harder, right? One of the big issues was just the consistency of players and them showing up on a nightly basis. It's one of the things that I actually defended Darvin Ham on, right? Because again, it's up to the player. The players play the game. Coaching can only control so much. You can only micromanage a game so much. You only get so many timeouts. You only get so many substitutions, right? Like at the end of the day, it is up to the players. If the players don't show up, it's irrelevant. You could have I talked about it like my example. Like you could take prime Pat Riley and prime Phil Jackson and do the fusion dance, fuse them together into the perfect coach. And if the players don't show up, it means nothing. What has Greg Popovich done the last few years? What has Steve Kerr done the last few years, right? Like, again, you need the players to show up. You need the talent. You need all of those things. JJ took a team that were like, hey, this team is not very good, playing team, all that stuff, to in the conversation for the 3 seed this year, and we're more than halfway through the season. And we're on a 5-game winning streak, and we look better than we've ever looked. We've won games without Anthony Davis. We've won games without LeBron James. We've won games without LeBron James and Anthony Davis against some of the top teams in the league. Like even Indiana, they were on a tear leading into that game. They were one of the hottest teams in the league the last month, right? And the Lakers just controlled that game start to finish. Obviously, did it start getting a little wobbly? Yeah, sure, but it's basketball, right? And now JJ Redick's going to get Luka to pair with LeBron James and he's going to, I mean, come on. I mean, seriously. No, JJ Redick deserves a mountain of credit, right? He does. Because look, who do people usually default to when things go bad? The coach, right? Oh, it's the coach's fault. It's the coach, right? And there were stretches this season where I got a ton of comments from people that were like, JJ Redick, I thought he was the savior. And I was like, he is. But what are you going to do, right? Like, the players still have to play, right? So what? We're going to fire JJ and hire another coach? So we're going to have, 5 coaches in the last 6 years or whatever it's been? Like, it's silly, right? Like, JJ's good. Was there always going to be a little bit of a learning curve, a little bit of a hiccup? Sure. Right? They went on, what was it, like a 6-game losing streak or something like that, 5-game losing streak earlier in the season, right? And they righted the ship. And that was after a 6-game win streak, right? And, it's part of the ebbs and flows of the season, right? And that was early on. What have they done they've looked better and better and better and better and better as the season has progressed, right? JJ Redick has done a great job. It's not just JJ, obviously the entire coaching staff. Again, I want to give credit to the entire coaching staff. But again, JJ's the guy. JJ's the lead singer, right? He gets all the praise. He gets all the, but when things go bad, he's going to get all the blame. So I do think he deserves more credit than the gist, but the other band members are equally as important, right? Because you don't have the band without all the other pieces, right? The coaching staff, the Lakers band, right? They are they are top tier right now. And it's a beautiful thing to see. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Kind of mixed in the middle? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.